Hey everybody, welcome back. I was on here yesterday, and I'd had so much stuff and so much to talk about. I knew I wasn't going to be able to cram it all in one video. And I know a lot of times when you make a video longer than 15 or 20 minutes, some people are like, well, maybe I'll look at this and maybe I won't. But everybody that did stick around and watch all of it, I appreciate it. Got some older stuff today. Got some eBay hauls. I know you guys have heard Why Not Art, Tony, talk about Ed Koch's warehouse lot. I actually ordered a haul from him, one on eBay, from his eBay store. Got some pretty cool stuff. And I got a little My Comic Shop haul and some odds and ends. Got a couple DVDs. So without further ado, this first little haul is from My Comic Shop. And of course, a couple of these things, you guys already know I'm preaching to the choir, but this is the last issue for now of Helheim, number 6. Haven't got to read it yet. Looking forward to that. Actually, I'm looking forward to getting to read a lot of stuff. I'm just going to have to set aside, allot myself some time for reading, even with all this work. So, another book, and I already showed this. I don't know why I ordered it. I guess I thought I didn't have it or wasn't going to have it, but Thanos Rising number 5, great series. And I got some back issues of, I'm really high on the Batman Superman title from DC right now. I know a lot of people like it, a lot of people don't like it. But it got me thinking, when they had a Superman Batman title back in, I don't know, I guess maybe 7 or 8 years ago. Pretty good title, had a lot of good artists, a lot of good writers. I know I had a lot missing from that series, but I got on My Comic Shop and found a lot of them cheap, like a very fine near mint for 70, 80, 90 cents. So I just kind of filled in some gaps and some good storylines in here. Let me try to find. Okay, here's number 14. Superman Batman, and this is probably one of my favorite story arcs from this. It's like they were raised and found by the Legion of Supervillains, Cosmic King and Lightning Lord, Saturn Queen, and were raised as brothers and were kind of evil. So got some great art in there by Carlos Pacheco. Jeff Loeb does writing. That's the first chapter of that, number 14. Number 15, Superman fighting another version of Wonder Woman. 16, probably my favorite chapter, and you'll see why. Hey, look, we got Commandy. And that's one of my collecting things. I've got the original run of Commandy and the crappy miniseries they came out with in the 90s, and I'm trying to get all the archives and the omnibus, even though it's stuff I've read a dozen times. But other than his original series and a couple other things, he really didn't appear that much. So I'm trying to find all the appearances. That's one of my next collecting goals. Anyway, but this is a good chapter. Okay, here's chapter 4 of that same story, number 17. Ra's al Ghul. Number 18, the final chapter of this. Like I said, all these are like great writing and art. You got Pacheco and Jesus Moreno in this one. And the rest of these are no particular order, just issues I didn't have. Well, maybe they are in order, I don't know. Anyway. Here's issue 20. Ed McGuinness art. If I'm not mistaken, somebody correct me if I am, but I think McGuinness is doing the art on Nova for Marvel now. He might not be right now, but at the beginning of that series he was. This is good stuff. Number 21. Number 22. You have the Bizarro and Bizarro Batman 2. 25. 24. Yeah, I know. I can't remember what this if I've read this story or not, but looked pretty interesting. But I love Ed McGuinness' art. 23, cool cover. '32, art by Andy Clark. And 31, covered by Ethan Van Sciver, or Skeever. More art and covered by Van Sciver. 30. '29, more of the same. Anybody's a fan of World's Finest or just anything with Superman, Batman together, this is really good reads. Number 28. The Martian Manhunter. And number 27, they have an issue with Power Girl and the Huntress. Kevin McGuire art. Okay, now on to the good stuff. The old crap. Okay, this was from my comic shop too. These are just some issues I had missing of DC Comics Presents. But this is, I just love this book. It's DC Presents number 8, I think. Yeah. And it's got Superman and Swamp Thing and Solomon Grundy, and this is a cover by Jose Luis Garcia Lopez. Just beautiful artwork. I know Howler Mouse, he's a big fan of Garcia Lopez, so this is one of my favorite covers of this period. And on the interiors, you have Murphy Anderson, well-known Silver Age artist. First time I ever saw a Swamp Thing done by Murphy Anderson. A little bit different, but pretty cool in its own way. And this is another one that I didn't have, and I don't know why I'm such a big Kubert fan. But DC Presents 66, Superman and the Demon, Kubert cover, Kubert interiors. It's just beautiful, beautiful artwork in this book. Against Blackbriar Thorn. You don't get to see Superman drawn by Joe Kubert very often, but this is a really cool book. Number 66. I found some mid-grade Avengers that I didn't have for a good price. Number 60. John Buscema cover. I think this is the wedding of Ant-Man and Wasp. Or, Henry Pym and Janet Van Dyne, if you please. This is probably like a good, very good, pretty decent looking copy. I'm going to have to try to get all my Silver Edge stuff in Mylar. It's going to take a while, but because Mylar is expensive. And another one of my favorite covers, number 71. I think it's another. Yeah, this is Buscema and Sam Granger on the cover. It's one of my favorites with Black Panther. And number 74, more Buscema. And you can't have a haul for my channel without having Planet of the Apes, right? But this is a magazine I'd had my eye on a while, and I finally found a decent copy on there. This is a Famous Monsters of Filmland, number 80. Has a real cool article on Beneath the Planet of the Apes. This is probably a very good plus, fine. It's a really cool cover. A lot of people hated Beneath the Planet of the Apes, but I thought it was actually the first movie I saw, and then I had to go back and watch the first one. But yeah, really cool mag. Okay, I want a couple eBay hauls. I put in a best offer on this. It was 3 black and white mags. Had 2 early issues of Eerie and another issue of Web of Horror number 3, and it was like, I think the starting bid was like $5. I was okay. Well, I'll just throw it in, and they were like maybe good, very good condition. These 2, but I'm the only one bid on it, and it's kind of surprising because it had the Web of Horror number 3 in it. But here you have Erie number 22. Sorry about the glare. Haven't rebagged these. I want to read them first. And Erie number 19. Of course, you know, all the art in Erie and Creepy is just awesome. In these issues alone, I think you've got Ernie Colon, you have Gene Colan, you have Al Williamson, you have Steve Ditko, you have Gray Morrow, Bruce Jones maybe in some of these. Angelo Torres, you know, he was a big contributor to the Warren stuff. But this is a really cool books. And the other one in that lot was Web of Horror number 3. Actually, it looks pretty high grade. The only thing is, on the back side of the top staple, there's a little piece ripped away. You know, it doesn't affect the front, but really that was the only thing wrong with it, other than some stress marks on the spine. Of course, you know, you got I've shown this book before, and I said, well, you know, it'd be nice to have another one for a reading copy. You know, I just put my $5 bid in and got all 3 of these for $5 plus shipping, which, you know, it's one of those things like, well, I don't think anybody was paying attention to this auction, so but pretty cool, I thought. Okay, they want another eBay haul. Like I said, we've heard Wild Not Art talking about Tony talking about Ed Koch's warehouse, and I really didn't realize that he had a store on eBay. He has some good bargains on there. A lot of the stuff, admittedly, is you know, reading grade, but I'm real big into collecting the square bound books, you know, the 100-page giants, the giant size Marvels, the the annuals and all that. But I found a copy of Marvel Tales number 10. You know, these are like early Spidey and all the early Silver Age reprints. I think it was in Fair. Actually looks a little bit better than that, but you know, this is one of those square bound thick books that I love so much. But lots of good reading here. Kirby, Ditko, you know, can't beat it for like, I probably paid $1.50 for that. So, great stuff. And I actually upgraded a copy of an old issue of Teen Titans that I had. I think the cover I had was coverless because it was my original from a kid. So here's Teen Titans number 52, the original series. You have the blonde-headed Batgirl that you didn't see very much of, and then you have Hawk from Hawk and Dove. It's probably a, I think that's a Rich Buckler cover, Buckler and Jack Abel. Appears to be. They did a lot of stuff for DC back in the 70s. And for people that are reading DC now, the Batman books and the Forever Evil, there's a character called the Joker's Daughter. Well, this up in here you have an appearance by the original Joker's Daughter. And I never really could figure out, because it was kind of confusing, they revealed her at one time to be the daughter of Harvey Dent, a.k.a. Two-Face. And later on, I don't know if they ever resolved that or not, because I kind of got out of Titans, and then I got back into it when Perez and Wolfman started their run. And I can't remember how that was resolved, if it ever was or not. But probably got very BG fine. You know, like I say, it was probably like $1 or something. And here we have a cool DC mystery book, Witching Hour number 54. Probably VG Fine or VG issue I didn't have. For some reason, Witching Hour, it is a hard run to complete, because there's a lot of issues I've looked for and I just cannot find them, or cannot find them in any kind of decent grade. But there was probably 80 issues of this. Another cool DC mystery title with gold covers. Probably, I'm not sure. It looks like probably Luis Dominguez did this cover. He did a lot of those mystery covers. Did a lot of covers for Jonah Hex, Weird Western Tales. Another one of these square-bound books I love so much, Marvel Superheroes number 15. Really cool Gene Colan cover, Medusa and the Inhumans. You know, I love the square-bound stuff. It's really hard to find these where the spine's not split or crinkled up, or got little chunks out of it. Just like a VG Plus, for a good price. I know they're all reprints, but it's still Silver Age. So Okay, what else? Okay, this is like a little 2-issue mini that I'd wanted for a while, by my man Joe Kubert. He did this for Marvel back in, I'm not sure when it was, 1995. But this is called Abraham Stone. And you got the, you just got great Kubert art in this. And just, whoa, Kubert doing nudies, didn't know that. But anyway, it's number 1. Number 2. I got excited from it because I thought he had signed these, but this is printed on all of them. So anyway, still just great art, story. Back to Fanny Kubert stuff, and I'm not. It's like a period piece. Starts like in the early 1900s, maybe 1912. But looking forward to reading these. Okay. And here is a copy of Monster Madness number 2, little Marvel mag from the early 70s. It's basically just a bunch of stills from old horror movies, and they kind of throw the funny thing on the front. Better cut out the sweets for a while. It's a pretty cool mag. Okay, and I finally found a copy of Deadly Hands of Kung Fu number 1. It's got more great stories and art. You got a painted Neil Adams cover. I don't know if that's Shang-Chi or it's like a tribute to Bruce Lee or what, but it's just a beautiful cover. Jim Starlin art on the inside. It's a really big. To me, it's a key. But good stuff. And if you order from Koch on eBay, he always throws in some freebies. Now, the options that I won, there were 2 of them that he actually didn't have, so he refunded my money on PayPal. And found out there was another book that was missing, but I think he's looking into that right now. So the guy is really good about communication and getting your stuff right. And I'd recommend him for anybody that's looking for back issues for a good price. These are some of the freebies he threw in. Something from Ultiverse Malibu Comics. There's hard case number 13. And here is actually some reprints. I've never seen this before. This was published in London. And these are actually old monster reprints from Marvel. Mystic. And, it's got Jack Kirby art, Steve Ditko art. It's in a big format. And he just threw this in as a freebie, which I thought was great. This is published in England, like I said. Just great stuff. Got some ads on the back there. And another freebie he sent. Actually probably a good mid-grade copy of the Marvel 2-in-1 number 16, Thing and Kazar. Ron Wilson on the cover art, probably interiors too, I would think. Yeah, Ron Wilson and Dan Atkins. A pretty cool little Bronze Age book for free. And in the 80s, there was a lot of independent guys came out, and I collected a lot of this title. But here's a Justice Machine number 3 from Noble Comics, actually a big magazine format. Mike Gustovich, Joe Rubenstein, Bob Layton. Pretty cool stuff. It's published 1981, actually. It's more like a Bronze Age book, but some great art. There's some character sketches inside. Actually, the first time I got to look at this. Pretty cool book. And I was really surprised that I got this free. There's another horror mag, and I'd heard of it, I'd never seen one. But here's a House of Hammer, number 10. And actually, I got an adaptation of Curse of the Werewolf, art by John Bolton. You know, another guy that does a lot of horror for Warren magazines. This was probably very fine. I think this came out like in '78. This is published in the UK. So a really cool freebie. You know, thanks, Ed. Okay, what we got in that? A few other things. I'd watched one of Damien's videos, a sleeper eater, and he was talking about how much he loved trades and bigger formats and stuff like that. And I've actually kind of got into those myself. Been wanting to collect some of the DC Archive editions, and I've found a couple places where you can probably get them less than half price. I mean, still in the shrink wrap. Of course, the shrink wrap is coming off because I'm going to read it. And I actually got a trade, maybe on Amazon, that reprinted all the issues of All-Star Comics from the 70s and some of the stories from Adventure Comics. So their showcase presents All-Star Comics. I think that's a Joe Staton, Dick Giordano cover. And these are all in black and white. I mean, I just wanted to be able to read it all the way through without having to pull all the, you know, I've got the originals, but I just want to be able to pull it out because this was some of my favorite stuff. There you got some awesome Wally Wood art on the Justice Society. And you got like one of the first 3 appearances of the Golden Age Superman in here. Yeah, this is one of my favorite pages from that. You know, sitting in his office at the Daily Star as the editor, and then you kind of see him silhouetted up here, switching in the costume and flying across the skyline. So it's a really good read, lots of great art in here. That's some Joe Staton art. But this reprints All-Star Comics 58 through 74, plus the Justice Society stories from Adventure Comics 461 through 466, I think. So, another one on the pile to read. And here's the All-Star Comics Archives number 1. I think these originally were, cover price was like $49.95 or $50, you might as well say. And I think I got this for like $17, you know, still in the shrink wrap. And they described that probably the only thing wrong with it is the UPC code was kind of yellowed on the back, which I really don't give a crap about. But this reprints All-Star Comics 3 through 6, which, you know, you have first appearance of the JSA in number 3. And reprints 4, 5, and 6 too. And I really didn't know this, but they had another archive edition called the All-Star Comics Archives number 0, which reprints the All-Star Comics 1 and 2, which basically had the same heroes in it, but they weren't the JSA yet. So you could see all these cool solo adventures of Flash and Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, you know, Wildcat, Doctor, whoever else, before they actually became the Justice Society. So probably going to pick that one up too. So that's that. A couple of odds and ends. I found I went to the Mid-Ohio Con back about, I guess 7-8 years ago. Went a couple years in a row, and actually had a program that had a couple sketches in. And some of you may have heard of an artist named Angel Medina. He did some work for Marvel, some other people. I think he did Spider-Man for a while. He's kind of got a he's got a different style, sort of, I don't know, cross between Todd McFarlane and Humberto Ramos. But he did a sketch for my son of Robin while he was at the con. So I thought that was pretty cool. I forgot about these. And did another sketch of who else was it? Oh, one of my favorite characters of all time. He did a sketch of Jay Garrick, Golden Age Flash. You can see that the pencil's kind of light, but I thought it was a pretty cool sketch. And another guy up there, and he was, I guess he was just getting started. All of you that read Godland from Image Comics, Tom Skelly. I asked him, you know, he's got the Jack Kirby style. I asked him if he could do a a Kirby command. He said go find some reference, and I didn't think to bring anything like that, so I just went and bought it like a cheap copy of Commandy number 50. It's like where you find out that Olmec is Commandy's grandfather, his descendant, or ancestor, I should say. And you kind of see Commandy morphing into Olmec. Well, I found that, and he did a sketch for me of the Commandy / Olmec character. Yeah, 2005. So I thought that was a pretty cool sketch. And the only thing he wanted was just to buy one of his comics. So I bought a copy of Godland and really got into that just because I love Kirby's style. So I thought this was pretty cool. Okay, I didn't really want this to last this long, but it has anyway. Just a couple more things, some DVDs. For anybody that's into older music, a big fan of the Beatles, the Beach Boys, the Monkees. And I had a copy of this on VHS, but I just now got it on DVD. It was the only movie the Monkees made, called Head. This is a cult classic. And no, by the title, it's not a porn flick. But if people are familiar with the Monkey Show, don't expect a Monkees episode, because after you watch this, you'll feel like you just smoked a dime bag. Not that I would know about that, but it's a cool little movie. It's got some cool guest stars. You have Victor Mature in it, Carol Doda, Sonny Liston, the boxer, Terry Garr, Annette Funicello. It's a weird, strange little late '60s psychedelic pop culture movie. But anybody that's a fan of the Monkees or anything psychedelic or from the '60s or just odd, yeah, it's a cool little flick. Okay, another movie I like, and this came out probably, I'm not really sure, maybe back in the '90s. Big fan of the Beatles. So, and this was actually a movie about their experiences in Hamburg. It's when they still had Stu Sutcliffe playing the bass, and Steven Dorff plays that part. And this is about right before they got famous, and they were playing 7 and 8 hours a night in Hamburg, Germany. The friendship that Stu Sutcliffe and John Lennon had. But it's a really cool little movie, and I just found it just recently on DVD. I'm sure it'd been out a while, but anybody that's a fan of the Beatles or older music, like I say, this is a really cool little movie. It's one of the better Beatle movies, I think. So, guys, that's all. Probably ran a little bit long. Sorry about that. But just trying to get you caught up. Heading to work in a couple hours, so more of that coming up. Probably another 6-day week. But thanks for watching. Thanks for commenting. I have still yet to figure out what I'm going to do for my 150 subscriber contest. I'm probably 10 or 15 over that now, so I'm behind. But I will be coming up with something. So stay tuned. Love you guys. And onward and upward.